and you just threw them on the, you threw them on the floor.
They did not throw.
Yeah, we only use glass, and we have plastic just for the body wash. Like, and I originally had glass ones though, but a lot of people, my grandma was like, you shouldn't have glass in the shower for a lot of stuff, so that's why I went ahead and changed to these BPA plastic bottles. Sasha's gonna show you how she's gonna package one essential kits.
$100,000 already in 4 minutes. How are you feeling?
Sweaty.
Okay. And you still got 32,000 people on the site still. Oh wait, let's see if Jada made her post.
She hasn't made it yet. I didn't get the notification.
Oh, well. You're $500,000 in 5 minutes. Bitch, you're making more than $1 million. Here.
It's on there.
Yeah. It's on there. Come on, this will be $500,000 in 5 minutes if more people just come through. Why did it freeze? Oh wait. Come on. Yes, sir!
Marie Rivera, a young entrepreneur, made headlines when she generated $1 million in just 8 minutes through her skincare brand, MoonX Cosmetics, during the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time, she was only 20 years old. Her business focuses on natural skincare products, including hydrating oils, cleansers, and face masks, which sold out rapidly due to the high demand. But recently, she's been the face of controversy because her family is no longer talking to her, and it's all due to money.
Here's a story of how my business destroyed my entire family, and I am now 4 years no contact with anyone in my remote family. So okay, and also, by the way, when I say immediate family, that means my mother, my stepmom, my stepsister, my cousins, my aunties, uncles, my, everybody besides my dad. Now, let me give a quick backstory on my business and pretty much like how I was even able to do that. So I started my business 8 years ago when I was 17 years old, my senior year of high school, and I struggled with acne. I started getting all of my first pimples during my senior year of high school. It's prom, senior pictures, graduation, field trips, all this. So I started getting my first pimple, and I got it right in the middle of my forehead. And then eventually it started spreading everywhere. So I grew up overseas in Seoul, South Korea, and I was trying Cetaphil, any type of brand you could think of, Clean and Clear, a lot of Korean skincare, and it just was not helping my skin. So I ended up moving back to America after I graduated in July of 2017. And I was always very into like my own body wash, body care type of situation. So I ended up making a body oil named Rose Galore. And I put it on my website. And at the time, I was only selling shimmer body oils and a few lip glosses at the time. So I ended up putting my body oil named Rose Galore on there, and Rose Galore eventually became a facial product. One of my customers brought it, used it on their face, it cleared their face. I posted it before or after, and my customers was like buying it back to back to back. But I had coconut oil in it. So I reformulated it and I added more healthier, so yeah. I also reformulated and I added vitamin E to it, organic rosehip oil, argan oil, like a lot of more fattier oils to it to really help me reformulate it so it wasn't very clogging, because the main ingredient in my body oils was coconut oil at the time. So moving forward, I ended up doing that and my business blew up, and I had a major success with my Rose Galore facial oil, which was good for, clearing everybody's blemishes, acne, hyperpigmentation, whatever you could think of. So fast forward, we hit COVID. And my family now has fully transitioned from working underneath me, whether it was coming after work, working for me full time, or whatever the situation was. Everybody was under the impression we work for Moon, we work underneath you, we are doing this, we're all together, we're all one unit. All right, cool. So moving forward after that, April 30th was my $1 million restock. This is a restock that we have been prepping for. We were filling, stuffing, labeling, doing whatever we can. And my website opened exactly at 11:59 EST. So I was in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. So the website opened. We had so many people on the website. And we actually hit $1 million in 8 minutes on there. And ever since then, my business has been a mainstream multi-million-dollar business. So yeah, I just wanted to throw my little 1-2 out there. But anyway, moving forward on 4 years no contact and how all of this blew up. Okay, we're part 2 on how my business destroyed my entire family. And I have to keep doing that because it's really like, it's not like, okay. So anyway, moving forward, after the big girl restock, everybody was working full-time, overtime. And of course, I just made $1 million. So of course, everybody's like, so the first person that I end up icing out was my mom. And I quote that very, very loosely because we've never been close growing up. I was raised by my great grandma and my grandma. And my mom was never a motherly figure to me. It was always my 2 grandmas that was a mother figure. So the mom loosely is me, meaning I was in her belly, she pushed me out, and that's like mom. So anyway, my mom ended up taking me to a car lot. She was crying and begging for this car. This her dream car. It was an Audi. I can't remember if it was a Q6 or a Q8. I really can't remember. So if it wasn't a Q8, it's a Q6. So this is a car that she wanted. We end up going to the lot. Like a few days after the restock, on my lunch break and on her lunch break, we took lunch together and we ended up driving to a lot in Atlanta and they had the car there. It was a beautiful car. We test drove it. Speakers was nice. Everything was nice. So I ended up putting out a deposit on the car, which by the way, I never got the deposit back. But I always think no matter what, business is business and I need to make sure my business is handled because now I have over 20 plus employees working underneath me that I need to make sure is going to be paid before I make a major $100,000 purchase on something that's not bringing me any money in. So we end up doing that. A few days later passed. My mom comes into work. You know, she's been coming in. We've been talking. We've been chatting or whatever. She let me know that the guy at the car lot called her and asked her what was going to be the update on the car because they had another interested buyer. Now, I've brought plenty of cars in my lifetime. I brought a lot of other people cars in my lifetime. And I know realistically that was more tactical on, hey, we want to sell, what y'all finna do? Or whatever. Now, my mom, who doesn't know about a lot of cars, didn't know that. So she's just now like in panic mode. I don't want to lose my car. You promised you're going to buy this for me. I promised the car by the end of the year. Her birthday's January 1st. So it's like I could have brought the car for you for Thanksgiving, that, you know, Christmas, Halloween, it doesn't matter. But I said I was going to get it. I stick to my word, and that's completely fine. So moving forward, we end up getting into it over the car. My mom decides if she wants to, you know, go off on me about the car and ignore me. So now this obviously drove a wedge in our business relationship because you're now working underneath me and you do a lot of our, you know, internal work. So yeah, so after that things really go south with me and my mom. So after that we end up getting into a really big argument. She then proceeds to call my grandmother. My grandmother then calls me and is like, what is going on? Your mom's called me. Like, y'all are into it again. What's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? Me not even thinking that it's going to even go further than what it did because it's a car. Like, it's not that serious. And it's a car that you never had that you're expecting me to spend my money on, which I don't mind doing that. But it's like, let me handle my business first. And by then, if you know, my $1 million wasn't even in my account yet. My $1 million was on hold for review because that was the most money my brand has ever brought in at the same time. Not in general, but literally all at once. So of course they held it to make sure this was a legit and they released it later. But it was like, you're begging me to spend money that I don't even know if I'm going to even have yet, you know? So part 3 on how my business destroyed my family. So part number 3, where we're back at the part of my mom ended up calling my grandma. My grandma calls me and was like, what is going on? Your mom is calling me. She's upset. She's yelling. She said she's going to go to your warehouse. She says, so you need to get up because I don't know if this is really going to happen. I said, what do you mean? I said, you know, mess with all the other stuff we're talking about. I said, what do you mean? she's gonna go to my warehouse. She was like, your mom told me that she's on the way to your warehouse right now to go get the locks changed, and that she's gonna start putting stuff in your oil. She's gonna really make you pay. And I'm asking her, pay for what, and she's not telling me. So I told her, I said, I know this is all over that Audi. My grandma's like, what are you talking about? I said, she got mad at me because I wasn't able to pay for the Audi in cash at the moment like I said I would. So now the whole direction of this conversation has now fully changed because my grandma didn't know what exactly she was upset for. She was just calling me to let me know, hey, get your ass up, go to work, and make sure you and your brand is okay, because this is how you make, you make your money or whatever. And you have over 30,000 people's money, because I 30,000 orders, 30,000 people's money that's inspecting our stuff. So I rushed to the warehouse. I get my locks changed. I changed my alarm code. I changed the email passwords to everything. I'm like, this is crazy. I make sure she haven't been in there. I checked the camera. She didn't even make it there yet. I end up beating her. The locksmith's there. I'm like, bro, put a rush on. I'm going to tip you. Like, come on, I need you in and out. Because I didn't want her to walk in on us in there changing the locks and it be like a whole scene. So everything was good. Nothing was tampered with. Thank God. And at the time when she called, she also was like, I'm going to call the fire marshal on you because I did get my shipment of 500,000 bottles to my warehouse, and we were out of code, meaning everything was above, like all the way to the ceiling, which is you're not supposed to be, but it was fixed immediately after we were notified that was out of code. But while we were in the process of doing it, she was threatening to call the people on me. So I was like, all right, you're really playing dirty, like this is crazy. And she was like, oh, and I'm gonna expose you to the shade room, I'm gonna let them know what you're doing. I'm not doing anything. Anything I did was on my YouTube vlogs. You guys know, if you don't know, I used to do YouTube very heavily, and we would vlog all of us in the warehouse. You will see the whole family dynamic of us working together inside of my vlogs. And that was the reason why he was talking about vlogs, for us to look back at later and really just be like, oh, this is crazy, good times, yada, 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 or whatever. So moving on, after that, I officially cut all my contact off with her. I ended up blocking her. I already had her blocked after we got into it about the car, but we block each other and block each other all the time. So I was like, it's not that serious. And I know that we work together, so it was like, we're going to have to talk about it eventually, or just move past it like we always do. Y'all know how it gets with black families, where you have to brush everything underneath the rug. So that's how it was with them. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and go to part 4. We're going to talk about the next family member. Part 4 on how my business destroyed my family. Okay, so we're now on part 4 where we're discussing last one, pretty much about me and my mom falling out about the car. So next thing you know, my birthday rolls around in August, and my mom ends up deciding to write a letter on my birthday. So as I'm leaving out of my apartment, I went downstairs, went in the parking deck, was getting in my car. I always check my email before I pull off. Usually I do it before I wake up, but I was in a rush. So it's my birthday, August 30th, and Virgo. And I end up checking my email, and it's an email, and it has my mom's first and last name on the email, and it's like a demand letter. So I end up getting a demand letter on my actual birthday from my own mom, saying that she's demanding X amount of money from this, and this, that if this doesn't get paid by this amount of time, she's going to end up suing. She's going to go take it to court, and that she will be exposing me, letting people know about my business, letting people know that I don't keep my word, and she's going to the shade room, like yada, yada, yada. And she knows one of my biggest fears was to ever get really publicly a bad prep or a bad name, because at the time I couldn't handle that type of stuff. I was 21 years old. Like, I had just turned 21 on this day. So I was 20 years old, and I was just dealing with all this. So moving forward, I end up getting a letter, and I immediately call my 2 people that, like, my COO and my director of operations. And we're on a call, and I said, did y'all get this letter? They got the letter. So we're all on the phone like, what is going on? So my director of operations ends up calling my lawyer. No, one of them ended up calling my lawyer, and we were on the phone with my lawyer. My lawyer was like, what's going on? We were at the letter, and she's like, who is this from? And I was like, my mom. The whole phone got so silent. And if you understand how embarrassed and just how humiliating and just disgusting I felt having to explain to my lawyer that my mom could possibly sue me over nothing. It blew my mind on how this was even like a real thing. Like, I was just flabbergasted. And on top of this, you waited until the day that you know I came out of you and you knew it was my birthday. You wanted to ruin my birthday. So you were already being like vindictive when it came to the way that you even went about the situation. So anyway, after that, we all decided, you know, we're going to handle this another day. So my lawyer decides to end up, you know, writing her stuff. And I can't go into too much detail on the conversation with her and my mom, or even me and my mom about that, because that was like a legal matter. So I can't go too far into detail when it comes to that. But just know this lady really tries to take me down over a $100,000 car. And this is why I want to say family is family, friends are friends, but blood doesn't make you thicker. Blood is not thicker than water, and blood does not make you family. I have friends that have never, ever crossed me in a dynamic that my family has in my life. So I consider all of my friends to be my family. And any of my family is X'd out. All right, so now we're at part 5 of how my business destroyed my family. Now we're at my surprise party. So my stepmom, my sister, all of my old friends from Korea, they all drove down from Tennessee. A lot of my Atlanta friends, my friend, boyfriend at the time, like everybody pretty much, and all of my majority of my employees were there. And they did me a great surprise party for my birthday, even though my birthday started out shitty because of, you know, the thing with my mom, but it really turned out great. And I was very excited. I was happy. I had a great ass time. Like, I was just, you know, cooling and booling or whatever. So moving forward, I allowed my stepmom and my stepsister to come back to work. I really was on the fence about it because my stepmom and my mom are married, and I felt like, you be with her, you gotta go too. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody pretty much has to go. But I decided to let my stepmom continue to work because she was one of the faster fillers, because I had hand, like, you know, bottles that I had to pump. I taught her how to pump, so she was faster at this point than me because I was just mixing. So I really did need the help. And she let me know we won't be discussing her. You know, I told her, I said, I don't want you on the phone with her. I don't want none of that here. I don't want her picking you up, dropping you off. I don't want none of that. If so, you can't work up in here. She said, okay, it was cool. We were always good after that. But now moving forward, I'm now going to speak on my next part to where it kind of gets a little... Okay, I'm back. And I also do want to throw this in there. So I do want to make it clear that when it comes down to me and my family dynamic, when it comes down to pay, I know that was a very big thing. And that's another reason why, like, I know that was like a big conversation between a lot of the family members. Everybody in my family was on payroll. My grandma was getting paid. My uncle was getting paid. When he had no job at my business, I still paid him just off the strength of you being in my family. My mom was getting paid. My stepmom was getting paid. And all of my under employees, and my sister's boyfriend was getting paid. Anybody who I had work underneath me never not got paid from me. Whether you were working physically there or you just were getting a check because you're my family member. But I made sure that nobody in my family needed for nothing when I was able to provide for them. And I want to just make that very clear, because that was a thing, like, that was trying to do the narrative with my mom. And no, everybody in my family got a paycheck, whether it was like $100 million, which is not what it was, or 50 cents. You were still getting paid something from me, whether it was what you wanted or what you felt like you deserve. You still got paid. And I feel like for you not to be working, you were getting paid for free. That's something. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, part 6 of how my business destroyed my family. Now I want to go ahead and move into, okay, after that, like I said, everybody went into no contact. I eventually ended up blocking my entire family after that, because once I found out that my grandma, who raised me from me being an infant to me being an adult, like, really was like my best friend. Me and my grandma did everything together. I moved to Korea with her. Like, we did everything together. That was my ace boom coon. Like, that was really my mom for real. So when I found out that she wrote the letter, it really destroyed me, like, mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, I was sick to my stomach when I found out that she helped write the letter. And to this day, my grandma acts like she doesn't know why I stopped talking to her. She doesn't know why I stopped communicating to her. But you know that you wrote the letter. Like, you know you helped your daughter write the letter. And I feel like no matter what, it should be no reason to ever allow anything like that to get to that point to where you would turn on me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, just before this, I gave my grandma money to pay off her house and my mom to pay off her credit card bill. And that video of us went viral. And that was genuinely from my heart. Like, this before I had even touched $1 million. I was doing that because that was my gifts to y'all. Like, y'all, if you know, you know. Whether me and my mom was close or not, I still always tried to make sure it was some type of salvage relationship there between us, whether I knew it was not meant to be or not. That's still, you know, my mom. And that's what we're taught. You have to still force something that's not there, even though because they're family, you know. But I don't believe in that. I never will believe in that. And now I'm older, I'm happy that I don't have to believe in anything like that. And I would teach any of those that are around me, whether it's my nieces or nephews on my dad's side, or, you know, whoever, that's not the case. If you don't want to talk to somebody and protect your peace and protect your mental, or they disrespect you, or they even go do it to the extent because they know your family, you cut them off like you would cut off a stranger. You cut them off like you would cut off a bad boyfriend. Don't ever stick around for nothing that is not meant for you and not meant to make you happy. So I want to just throw that in there as well. So anyway, to pretty much close this out or whatever, now everybody in my family has been blocked. Like I said, I decided to just move my own separate way. I felt like everyone was in. I felt like everybody was against me. And I really was just hurt. And I feel like for my own legal sake and for my business, my livelihood, and I want to point this out there too. I was starting my business when I was 17. I didn't graduate college, and I also didn't even finish college, let alone I never had a job outside of Moonex. So for anyone that is near me that could jeopardize how I make my money, make my living, or supply my business to others, or even pay people, I can never respect that. And I remove myself immediately. I remove myself from the situation so quickly because this is my livelihood. You know what I'm saying? So when my mom pulled that stunt and I felt like my entire family knew, I just removed myself. Like, I removed myself from it. And my stepmom got cut because you land with the enemy. My stepsister got cut because I feel like you over there with them, y'all conversating, y'all plotting against me. She may not have had nothing to do with it, but either way it go, you gotta go too. Your boyfriend, he a liability, he gotta go. So it's like, that's just what it is. My grandma, you wrote the letter, you lied and act like you didn't know that I knew you wrote the letter. You really act like that, and I stopped talking to you. So that's pretty much like the gist of it. My uncle ended up coming into work, like, you know, once he found out about the whole situation. He flew down from LA and he walked in and he was like, why don't you just pay your mom the money and we could just move on from this? And ever since that day, I blocked him as soon as he left outside that door, and I never spoke to him ever again. Because for you to even want to pick sides on something like that, or not even let your own niece know, you dead ass wrong. I could never respect as a man, and let alone as my uncle. So you got cut too. It's just what it is. Like, nothing more, nothing less on that. Part 6 on how my business destroyed my family. And like I said, please ignore my makeup stain. I just did it. So I also want to point out too, I want to say maybe a year and a half has now passed. A year and a half now has passed. And I also moved out of my apartment. I brought my first home. I couldn't share that with my family. I couldn't invite my family over for barbecues, dinners, nothing like that, because, you know, we're no contact. Holidays go by. I spend majority of them alone unless I'm with any of my friends. Well, majority of my friends are booed up, so they be with their significant other, which is perfectly fine and perfectly healthy for them. So usually I spend a lot of my holidays, my birthdays and stuff like that by myself. But I don't celebrate my birthday. No matter what year I've tried, after 2020, my birthday just has been kind of ruined, because every year my birthday reminds me of that letter I got, and that letter literally turned my world like upside down for real. So yeah, I just really don't really celebrate my birthdays. Like, no matter how hard I try to, it just never works out. So August 30th is a day for me. But I do want to say, when I finally decided to come out about my story, because a lot of my customers really would ask me, especially when I did my first pop-up that same year back in 2020, which was in November of Black Friday. Everybody would come up to me, where's your mom, where's your grandma, where's your aunt? I want to meet them, they so funny, I want to see them. And I'm like shit faced trying to explain to them on, damn, my mom tried to sue me just a few months ago, so I can't even tell y'all about that. I don't talk to my girl. Like, I just had so many like ways on how embarrassed and just sad I felt. And people asking me, not knowing, I literally went to the bathroom and I cried my eyes out at my pop-up shop. And it really altered my mood when it came down to me doing my work. But I pushed through. We had an amazing pop-up, and thank you to everybody who came out to that as well. Like, I really did appreciate it. But years passed when I was decided to move out of Atlanta, and I was in Dallas. I was in Dallas in my hotel room alone, and I made a video on my YouTube channel called 23. And that's when I had just turned, 22. I had just turned 22 at the time. And I had made a video doing my makeup, Get Ready With Me, and I broke down my whole entire life story that I'm telling on here. I broke it down in my video. And that video grossed so many views in the first 12 hours. And I'm not sure, I'm quoting it on how my mom found out about it, but she left the meanest, nastiest comment on my video to where I had to even take the video down. And I feel like I've been forced to keep silent on how I felt and the things I really went through since 2020 a secret. And I hate that. And I feel like me going through that really has altered my business, has altered how I view my business, has altered how I view myself, relationships, friendships, anything like that. And I could say that situation has made me so bitter, would have made me so bitter, had made me so bitter back in that time frame to where I was so mean to my customers. I hated interactions. I didn't want to come to work. I was messing, I was just so depressed, and I would just be so mean to my boyfriend, be mean to my friends. I just didn't know how to literally deal with the fact of people the closest to me really played and hurt my feelings. So it really turned me into this animal, and I hated it. And I hate how I treated my consumers, my friends, my boyfriend at the time. And I'm so thankful that my friends and my boyfriend was able to really understand, you're hurting right now. This is not you. This is not the Moon Marie we know. This is not the caring, loving girl that will give the shirt off her back, the jacket off her back to make sure we good. That's not this person. You're hurting. So my my friend ended up telling me to go to therapy, and I ended up going to therapy, and therapy has helped my life tremendously. And even when I'm not in therapy, because it's an on and off process with me, I still pray. I still write down my emotions. I still learn now. Everything doesn't need a reaction. I know then when to walk away. I know who to have my business and who not to have my business. I know not to never hire family. I know not to never let family ever pelt me like that. I know to tell anybody around me that's struggling with this to cut them off and put you first. I had to learn all of this at the age of 20. Literally the age of 20 and 21 and ongoing now. I'm now 25 since last month, and every day this doesn't cross my mind, but I have grown tremendously from this. And I could really say, for me to get on a platform as big as TikTok and really get through this without time, my eyes watering up, I'm pausing and all that, I really have grown, and I'm so happy I'm able to share my story. And I took 2 years off of working because I just could not focus on my business. I almost lost my entire business over my family bullshit, and my business ultimately destroyed my family. But my business is my baby, and I don't regret anything I went through with my business, and I don't regret having my business. I'm blessed beyond measures. I feel like I'm 25. I'm still here. I'm still kicking. We are 8 years in. MoonX is still starting strong. This went from me making this in my kitchen to now being in a lab with dermatologists, chemists, and I just am blessed, and I'm thankful. And I just wanted to come on here and share my story. And I want to say, anybody who's battling or dealing with anything like this, to wrap this on up, because I understand the video is long, but seriously, and I want to speak more on the Black community, our African American community. Please speak to somebody. Please stop allowing people to brush how you feel underneath the rug. That shit is not okay. That shit is not cool. That shit is never cute, and it's never going to talk about it later. No, I want to talk about it now. This is bothering me. And please do not let anyone that hurt you alter you as a person. This has altered me as a person tremendously, to where I didn't even recognize myself. And like I said, I was so mean and just so evil. And I hate that that's a lot of first impressions that people got on me. But I hope now, and just in general, as time passes and people really meet me and know me, they're like, oh, you're nicer than I thought you was. And I'm like, I have to just take that as like, damn, that's not what I want people to think about me, but that's what I've shown them. My lashing out, me trying to make people, me trying to hurt people how they hurt, how I was hurt. And that's not cool. But anyway, to wrap this up, like I said, I want to thank you for watching this little TikTok series. This has been heavy on my heart, literally for the last 4 going on 5 years. And I just feel so relieved and just so thankful that I'm able to get this off of my chest. Like, and I want to just say thank you guys too for supporting my business, Moon X Cosmetics. I am blessed, 8 years in, and bye.
Money can amplify people's true feelings towards you. In many cases, it's not the money itself that changes relationship, but the perception of it. Some people may start to see you as a walking ATM, or they may think that because you've made it, you owe them something. It can turn friendships and relationships with family members into transactions. This shift often reveals who really supports you. Until next time, bye.